Hi, I'm your host, Larry Smith, and you're listening to Speak Out Podcast, a community outreach of the Lawrence County Career Technical Center in Moulton, Alabama. Today, my co-host is Kyla Braidfoot, who's a sophomore at East Lawrence High School and a student in Mr. Hall's Advanced Manufacturing HVAC program here at LCCTC. Hi, Kyla. Let's welcome our guest to the show.
Hi, Larry. We're excited to introduce our guest for the podcast, Mr. Bryton Frost.
Bryton Frost is from a small town in northwest part of the state called Haleyville. He graduated from Haleyville High School in 2018, and from there he began his journey with Nucor. He was accepted to the Technical Academy starting in August of 2018. Through the Technical Academy, Bryton attended Shelton State Community College, where he earned an associate's degree in applied science. Upon graduating from the Technical Academy and from Shelton State in May of 2021, he then moved into a full-time position in the melt shop at Nucor Steel of Decatur. His first role for the division was as an electrical utility, gave him many opportunities to continually learn and grow his knowledge of the steel-making process, as well as sharpen his troubleshooting skills. This prepared him to move into his current position as a day shift melt shop electrician. In total, Bryton has been with Nucor for a little over 4 years. Each day, his team is faced with challenges that, when solved, leave us with the satisfaction of knowing that we work for the best company in its class.
Welcome to Speak Out, Mr. Frost.
Thank you for having me.
Can you tell us about Nucor and your job?
Yeah, Nucor is the the United States largest steel manufacturing company. We are the United States largest recycler as well. We have over 30,000 teammates and over 300 facilities in the United States. We're a Fortune 500 company that makes anything from plate to sheet steel to pipe to tube and many more products. Some of our customers, some of our steel goes to the automotive manufacturing, goes to just many types of industries. And my job is I'm a melt shop electrician, and so I work in the furnace where they start the melting process and start
Wow.
the steel making process. So.
Well, can you tell us a little bit about your Nucor Technical Academy and your experience of going through that program?
Yes, my experience of going through the Technical Academy was very positive. Once I learned about it, and once I started researching it, I found that it was a program like none other. It's a program that pays you to go to school, and your school is completely paid for. So and it also guarantees you a job with a skill once you graduate. That is just unheard of with any program coming out of high school. Most programs will pay some, but not all. It's a 3-year program. It is your first year. Your first year, you usually typically start out at $12 an hour when you first come in the program, and each year you get a pay raise up to $16 an hour. So and then once you graduate, you're a full-time employee. So.
Okay, great.
What makes Nucor a great place to work?
Nucor has so many benefits that make it a excellent place to work, such as we have a on-site doctor for you and your family. We have a gym that's available to all teammates. We have profit sharing, stock options, 401k matching, but also Nucor is based on Nucor is not just a company with great benefits. It's also based on a set of values that most other companies don't share.
Okay.
These values are known as the Big 11. Some of those are hard work. Let's see. Let me think of some. Hard work. I'm drawing a blank. Teamwork and profitability. So having those, Nucor.
That's great. Nucor Nucor then really embraces kind of a teamwork and a family. It's kind of like a family.
Yes, that's what I was trying to say earlier. Yeah, it's a culture really. When you go out there and you go to work, it's not just that you've got a job; it's that you've got a family. That's why getting a job at Nucor and then having a job at Nucor is kind of difficult to do, because it is the interview process is so rigorous that they want to ensure the right employees that have those same values so the process or the values can be carried on.
And it's like a character building experience.
Yes, sir.
Well, are there any opportunities for community support or volunteerism with Nucor?
Absolutely. Such as what I'm doing right now. I want to speak on when I was back in the Technical Academy. When I was back in the Technical Academy, I had several opportunities for community outreach and stuff. At Shelton State Community College, they have a career fair, and it is called Worlds of Work, or WOW. Nucor and the Technical Academy is very heavily involved in that, and I was able to go be a part of that for 2 years in a row. And also a little bit less formal, but also just as important in my opinion, a couple of our employees teammates in Tuscaloosa live down close to Centerville, and one day a tornado came through and damaged the community pretty bad. So we were able to go down there and help do storm cleanup with Nucor, and I was able to be a part of that as well. Since I've been able to be a full-time teammate, I've been able to go to 3 different high schools and talk about Nucor Technical Academy and the opportunities at Nucor. So Nucor isn't just okay with being average and just not getting their name out there. They encourage community relationship and so that's why we've been able to go and reach out and do things like that. So
that's awesome.
That is. What types of career opportunities are available at Nucor?
So, like I said, I've been able to go and talk to a lot of students at different high schools and stuff, and mainly we were sent there to talk about the Nucor Technical Academy. Mm-hmm. But I found just as many students that were wanting to work at a place like Nucor. They just didn't know the options available, but the options are pretty much endless of anything in the business and manufacturing sector. So if you wanted to be in sales or HR or anything in that manner, we have that. And then engineers, we have mechanical, electrical engineers. And if you wanted to be in the production and maintenance side of it, we have mechanics, electricians, production workers, and many more that I'm probably forgetting, but those are just a few.
So it sounds like a place where you could have a career for life and keep on growing.
Absolutely, yeah. So when I very first started in, like I said, I was electrical utility. So that's kind of just a learning role. They want you to come in and get familiar with the area, but they don't want you to stay there. So Nucor really promotes self-growth and not being satisfied with where you're at. So a career with Nucor is a career of learning and a lifetime of advancement.
Well, how has COVID affected the work at your company?
COVID, when COVID hit in March of 2020, I was in my second year in the spring semester of the Technical Academy, and like everybody else, Nucor had no idea how this virus was going to affect everything. So as the virus progressed and as everything continued, Nucor was actually deemed an essential business. So that meant we didn't have to shut our doors. We didn't have to stop. What we did do was Nucor evaluated pretty much every job that was going on plant side, and the jobs that were being done that were being done on plant site that could be done from a remote location. That's what they did. But for maintenance and production workers, you got to be there to run. So they kind of slimmed down the people that were there at a time, and we just kept running. We were able to produce steel, all the way through the pandemic. Yeah.
That's good.
So we were able to keep running, and then we started getting a handle on the pandemic and started getting a handle on COVID, we gradually brought people back in, and we're back full capacity now. So
now pretty much back to normal?
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's great. How can people interested in working at Nucor learn about hiring opportunities?
So the easiest way to learn about it is just to go on the website. We have hiring pools that are open. Most of the year that we have positions that are open to the public. So anybody interested in that would be the first avenue of it, but that's not the only way. If you were in high school going to college and you got into college and you were in engineering, pre-engineering, or industrial maintenance or anything like that, you can actually co-op at Nucor. So if you go through a co-op program with Nucor and you do a good job and whatever, that usually ends up in a job. So you usually end up hired on full time. So those are two avenues, and then also we're trying to get more involved with going to local high schools and things like that, and getting the Nucor's name out there. So those are a couple ways to know about us.
Well, I was doing a little research for this the other day, and I went on the website and was able to look at some of the job opportunities on the website as well.
Yes, sir.
And there's quite a few locations.
Oh, yeah.
As well also.
Yeah, so there's Nucors all over the country. Personally, while I was in the academy, we had 18 different students that were in our year. And those students ranged from Seattle, Washington, to New York, to Utah, to Texas, to Florida. So we have divisions all over the country that are all under the same umbrella as Nucor. So,
well, what are the main skills that young people should work on in order to be successful in the workplace?
Main skills I would say is definitely just be committed to whatever you're doing. Whatever skills that you possess, that's just a basis for growing. Definitely, I would probably say just being punctual, being able to work with a team, having a lot of integrity, and if you're interested in any kind of skilled trade such as electrical or mechanical or engineering or anything like that, I would say learn as much as you can about that trade. Even while you're in high school, even while you're in college, learn as much as you can about that specific trade, because any knowledge that you have going into the workforce is just laying your foundation
Yes.
for it to be built on in the future.
Yes.
So,
What is your most positive experience there?
my most positive experience would probably what I'm doing right now, getting to go out and try to find young talent or talent in general would be a good fit at Nucor. Getting to, like I said earlier, Nucor isn't okay with just being average, and everything we do, we want to be world class. And that's one thing that they push is world class safety, world class performance, world class productivity, and this is no different. So getting to be selected as somebody that gets to go out and talk to the community and reach out in the community and be able to find young talent, or like I said, just talent in general, that for Nucor is probably one of my most positive moments.
That's
Well,
great.
what is a mistake that you made from which you learned an important lesson?
So sadly, in life, there are a lot of important lessons that come from mistakes being made, and this one that I'm fixing to tell you about, I was in the academy as well. One day, my supervisor, I was trying to help him on a job, and he told me he had something for me to do. So the task that he told me to do was to go and get on a lull, or we call it a lull, but it's really a rough terrain forklift. Get on the piece of equipment and go and pick up some parts that he had in a specific area and bring them to a different spot for a job that we were getting ready to do the next day. So young and eager to impress, I knew what I was doing, or thought I did. Went and got on the machine, cranked it up, backed it up, and when I went to back it up, I turned the steering wheel and I turned to the right to where I could pull forward, and when I did, I felt the machine bump. I bumped into something, and it didn't feel like much. So, but I figured I would get out and check, and it was a fire hydrant. I had backed it into a fire hydrant, which broke it from its base. Luckily, the fire hydrant was turned off, so it didn't start blowing water everywhere. But I kind of took a second there. I mean, I had to report it, and it was an incident. After that, I had to go and talk to my supervisor, and what we discussed was, luckily this time it was a fire hydrant, but it could have been somebody. It could have been something much more important than that, and that kind of hit home for me, because nothing is as important or worth getting hurt over, or getting someone else hurt over. So that was a big lesson for me.
That's right.
What motivated you into this career path?
Probably what motivated me into Nucor, into this electrical role that I'm in now, was it all started when I was young. I always wanted to be, or I always was really fascinated in how things worked. It didn't matter if it was anything from a lawnmower to a hairdryer to anything. I wanted to know how it worked. Throughout my life, I had countless opportunities to figure that out. But once I got into high school, it was pretty much my lifestyle then. I worked on things, and I like to work with my hands. I was involved in our automotive program, which led me to be able to continue to follow that fascination, and I actually was able to compete on the national level in diesel technology through that. Once I graduated, I knew I just couldn't stop there. I had to do something else in that field with my hands, and that's when I learned about Nucor, and that's when I learned about the Technical Academy. So upon learning about that and talking to a lot of people that were already in the program and already working full-time with Nucor, it was a no-brainer for me. I was ready to go. So
Cool.
That's when I was able to apply and go forward with it.
Well, before we sign off, what advice do you have that you would give to a young person who is exploring career decisions?
My advice to somebody exploring career options would be figure out what you're good at, figure out what you like doing, and for anybody that could be different. That could be if you like welding, if you like cosmetology, if you like anything like that. I mean, anything that you want to do. Don't let anybody discourage you just because it might not be the most glamorous career. Figure out what you like doing and figure out somebody that will pay you for what you're doing. And also, there's a lot of push today in today's society of going to a four-year university. Four-year university is the only way to go. I knew going into high school that wasn't for me. That wasn't what I was going to be able to do. Could I? Yes. But would that been what I wanted to do and made me happy? No. So keep your career tech options open. Keep your eyes open to a lot of different things that might not be in the limelight, because in reality, you'll be happier doing what you want to do versus being persuaded in other directions. So,
thank you. Well, Bryton, thanks for being with us today on Speak Out.
Yes, sir.
And Kyla, thanks for being my co-host today.
Mm-hmm.
You have been listening to Speak Out Podcast, a community outreach of the Lawrence County Career Technical Center in Moulton, Alabama. I'm your host, Larry Smith, and I'd like to thank my co-host, Kyla Braidfoot, and our guest from Nucor, Mr. Bryton Frost. Please check out our podcast on the Lawrence County Career Technical School website, and we hope that you'll join us for future episodes.